How's it going, people? Jordan, you're enjoying yourself, innit? You know we can hear you through the intro.
Bro, I thought you muted the thing.
I do, but I unmute because then if I don't unmute it, you don't unmute yourself. You start talking later, and I gotta tell you to unmute yourself.
Oh, pissed. I just love the song. Love the song, man. It's a good song.
No, we know how it's going for you, but for the rest of you, how is it going? Later than expected, to be honest with you. But a couple of us were busy this morning, so it's a Monday morning one. We're recording it Sunday night. Hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed, do all of that stuff, people. Individual channels as well. You should already know what it is. If you don't know, at the end, I'll remind you. And yeah, feels very much like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back within a matter of days. Arsenal 2, Aston Villa 2 at the Emirates. And yeah, 2 points gained in midweek with Liverpool dropping points. Those 2 points gained are well and truly dropped now. Especially the way Liverpool have done it in injury time as well. Just before our game started, it just left a bitter taste. But we didn't do our job, so that's an even more bitter taste. But let's get into it. As always, big up James, Jordan, and Lee in the building. Lee, straight over to you. You're at the game off the back of a North London derby win. Also off the back of an FA Cup exit not too long ago, and a first leg semi-final lost to Newcastle. But what was it like? How was it?
Yeah, it was a good atmosphere. Listen, I think you can go and we'll not be a broken record if you carry on about it and everything. Like what we know. I think at the end of it, I wasn't surprised that we drew this game. I'll give the players a bit of credit that they carried on going to the end. They didn't fade. They're going into the end. When you think about it, of the difficultness we've had over the week playing those games and without hardly any players, the bench looked very, very weak yesterday. And I have to say that I don't think it was the forwards that let us down yesterday. It was the defence. And if we don't win the league this year, boys, which is probably going to happen, I think Mikel has got to hold his hand up and say it's a lot down to him. Because hindsight's a wonderful thing, but that's 6 games now that they've played Thomas Partey at right back, winning 1. And does anybody know that game was against?
Southampton at home.
Southampton at home, who are bottom of the league. So
I was watching Lee Judge's TV. That's all I know.
Thank you very much, right? So there you go.
Watch that crap.
So it was a great stat from Dan.
No, you said it. Well, the bit I watched.
No, I did. I looked into it, and listen, he was asked a question. He dodged it, and shame on him for dodging it, because I think it's something that has cost us. You can argue it and maybe go down different routes, but for me, I said it before the game. I don't like it when he does it, because it may address the right back position, but it makes us a little bit weaker in midfield as it's proven, and it just doesn't work. And it's 6 times, you know what I mean? Like 5 times it's fouled. I don't think So you look at that. How many points has that been dropped from that position? But that's the one thing I would say. But listen, I felt that the play. I can't really slag the players off. They give it their all. It's just that they're not good enough. This team is not good enough to win the league. And that's the facts, you know what I mean? It's just a decent team. It's got heart. It's got everything that, you want to get into the top 4. And the thing, I think expectations now of because we're expected to win the league has put pressure on. And it's just not happening, and everybody yesterday was disappointed coming out of the stadium. But you couldn't fault the players, boys. I know, you can say, oh, this and that mistake here or whatever. The work rate of the team, I thought it was an entertaining-ish game. But the fact of the matter is that Aston Villa, who have been in the Champions League 1 year, have got better forwards than us. And they've got forwards on the bench. I know that we've got injuries, but so have they. They had players missing yesterday. We've got now, I'm being told that Saliba's going to be out for at least 3 weeks. It's just, keeps mounting up and up and up. And we're next home game, we've got Manchester City who have come back into a bit of form. But again, our own form under Mikel is not good enough. people go, oh, we haven't lost a game, but we're drawing too many games. Drawn to Everton, we've lost to Manchester United, lost to Newcastle, drew with Aston Villa. So in this bunch of 5 home games, we've won 1 out of 4 so far. Lost 2, drawn 1, and beaten Spurs. And before everybody goes mad about everything, and we knew we said it on Wednesday, how poor Tottenham were. Everton have just slapped them up. Like, you know, I know it didn't in the end, but they were 3-0 up. It could have been 6, guys. I watched it today. It could have been 6. You know what I mean?
Lee, did you see Indai? Is his name Indai? Indai? Did you see his goal?
Yeah, brilliant.
And James, I'm glad you're saying it because I wanted to say it. Big up.
Who scores that goal for us?
No one. We haven't got anybody that can do that. You know, there's no one in the team. You know, we're all shouting out for it yesterday. Someone that can take on a player and beat somebody. Just go around someone and beat someone and all that. And I have to say, you know, I mean, my mate sitting next to me yesterday, he went to me, what do you reckon the sub's going to be? So I said, that's going to be like Sterling coming on, put Havertz, take Marino out, put Havertz into the midfield, and you've got like more attackers on, like, you know, because we've got to go for it. And he went like for like again, you know, and he turned around and said, oh, we go like for like, it'd be Martinelli. I said, no way is Martinelli coming off in this game. No way. We need a goal. We need to win this game. And he did take Martinelli off, who flattered to deceive again, I think there. I will say I'm big up to Miles Lewski. I thought was absolutely outstanding in this game. I thought Declan Rice drove us from midfield, from the base of the midfield, and I thought Trossard played well, like, you know. But there's too many players. I'll be really honest with it. Let's be really honest. Havertz, Odegaard, probably even Martinelli to a certain degree. I'm going to bring Timber into it now, not because he was playing badly, but they need to be left out of the team. But you can't leave them out of the team because there's no one else. There's no, you know, these players are not performing to the standard that they need to be, but they're still playing in the team because at the end of the day, we've got no one else. It was like looking at the bench yesterday, they were all warming up. I didn't know none of that. You know what I mean? Like, just, you know, who's that? You know what I mean? Like, they need to put a photo up of on the screen so we know who they are. They're just bench fillers. They're not going to come on at any stage of the game. They're not going to come on. And I know we've got injuries and all that, like, and they're going down continually, like. But the reason they're going down is because we just keep. I've got to say one thing before, and I'll leave you guys to go on it. Timber is a machine. He's the next one to break down, by the way. You know what I mean? But I don't know how, after the injury that he's had and the intensity of the games, that he keeps going and going and going. Like, he's like a Duracell built battery. He is, like, keeps going. Unbelievable. But he will break down. He will break. He cannot carry on doing what he's doing. He can't. You know what I mean? Like, but
I'm grateful to him. I'm grateful to him for the amount of football he's playing.
Oh, he's been unbelievable, James.
He's played all 4 positions this season. So yeah, well, all 3: right back, left back, centre back, and he's largely stayed a lot fitter and more available than we all expected him to be. So yeah, good on him. Good on him.
I mean, 2-0 up.
Yeah, you can't give away a 2-0 lead. You can't when you're going for the title. Let's get that out there as well. You can't.
I saw it flash up on the screen, and they did ask Arteta about it. Last year, 18 times we led at halftime and 18 times we won the game. This year, I believe, on the screen, it was 11 times at halftime, only 7 wins, 4 draws. That would make it 5. You know, you look at the table, and that goes a long way in explaining it. You know, and what you said about the squad, that's why James or Jordan, you two go next, because I don't want to get into the transfer window nonsense.
I have to say, I'm not sure what I have left to say, really. We'll talk about the game in some detail, but in terms of the overall picture, if you've got a card,
is there any links? Is there? You know, I don't really keep.
New merch has been dropped, though, boys. New merch has been dropped.
Yeah,
another new merch, another lot come out.
Just on the transfer front, literally as we're recording, it's 11:15 on Sunday night, UK time. The ITKs are doing their thing online. Monday's a good day for this and tomorrow's a new day, all that. Listen, and they might know something, and then tomorrow morning something will break. But I'm just saying that is how desperate. That's how really, there's nothing else other than that. So maybe they're on something, and we'll see, and we'll obviously all react to it and give appropriate credit. But that's the signings. Yeah, if you've got a car with a dodgy engine that doesn't always start, and you don't replace that engine, don't be surprised when sometimes it doesn't start. And that's just how I feel about this football team. If you have really clear, obvious problems, don't be surprised when they come back and bite you. I'm going to say that I take your point, Lee, about the attackers did their job. I kind of feel sorry for the defense a little bit, because I really think they conceded 2 chances, really. And then the finishing from Villa was masterful. I mean, Watkins and Tielemans just took their 2 chances, bam, done. And I didn't feel as mad at the team or Arteta yesterday. I think if we had this kind of result last season or the season before, where things obviously we did go on a good run, I think we'd have just looked at it as one of those where we probably played well enough to win, but ultimately they had 2 chances, they finished them brilliantly. And sometimes that can happen in football. However, the same problems are that yesterday I thought we did play okay, pretty well actually against Villa, a good side. You need to take that into account. But still just really sloppy in front of goal, really just a lack of quality, real kind of lack of variety in how we were trying to attack Villa. It's just the things we were trying to do were a bit better. For example, getting the ball wide to Trossard. I agree. I thought Trossard was really good, and he had the beating of Cash all game, not just going forward, but actually defensively, track back and shut him out a few times. So Trossard had the beating with fullback, and in doing so, whipped the ball into Havertz and Martinelli, twice, and then they took their chances, albeit, I don't want to be too harsh, kind of straight at the keeper, but okay, cool. They scored. Well done. And we were 2-0 up, but again, it was sort of a lot of the same motions. Then when we went back to 2-2, there were a few moments. Marino hits the post. I think Trossard had one save the near post from Martinez, and it felt like we were knocking on the door a little bit, but ultimately there's just a lack of quality. I don't think we were as poor as we were against Man United and Newcastle, but again, that's just really bottom of the barrel stuff. Like, it was slightly better, but it was still 2 drop points in a week where we finally clawed 2 back. Now, the Nunez goals for Liverpool were a bit gut-wrenching, because at one point they were 0-0 going into the 90th minute, and okay, the game was after, but at another point we were 2-0 up in that game. So it's just funny how football can be, right? And we'd be sitting here 1 or 2 points off them. But ultimately, I think you said this, Turkish, maybe in your fan camera, I heard you say it somewhere. They brought on Elliott, they brought on Nunez, we brought on Raheem Sterling, and it was another disgrace of a cameo. I mean, it was awful. And when I use words like disgrace, I don't mean because he didn't always have the beating with fullback. I mean, that was poor enough. But then he'd lose the ball, and then he'd kick the Villa player, bring him down, and then waste another minute of the game and added time. Things like that. There was just quality lacking in this team. But I want to say a big well done to Miles Lewis-Skelly, who is performing at a level beyond anything I expect from him this season. Well done. Gabriel once again, Timber again, brilliant. Yeah, Rice drove us up the pitch, and Trossard, I think, was our best attacker. Martinelli had some moments. I didn't think he was great. Havertz, let me not say much. I know he scored, but I was really disappointed with him. And Marino got a lot of heat.
You see him in the last 10 minutes.
Don't even ask
a goal.
The
cross that nearly went outside the box, and then the other one invade space, my bro. The space was there, invade it.
Do you remember when he was played through on the left?
Pass to Cash.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, when he was put through on the left, yeah.
Come on, how many weeks do I need to see, or do we need to see all of this before we know what it is? Like, with that player in particular, but in general, I agree with you on the attack. I think the attack could have done more. The game should have been seen off Martinelli twice. Martinelli, there was a quick counter. He put his head down and runs towards the right corner flag when the 2 players he had was on his left. Move fizzles out. That was at 2-0. Then I don't know if it was 2-0 or 2-1.
Couple minutes later, they go score.
Yeah. And then he had a volley in the box where he should have done much better. He didn't even get it on target.
Miles Lewis
yeah,
Skelly put across Turkish.
Yeah.
I don't know if he
Lovely
got off the
underlap.
back of Rodgers and put across, and we're all on aerial. A proper striker goes in. You know, his movement is to go in, not be on aerials waiting for it. It's just, you know, and you look at that there, and you're spending a lot of money for your season, and you're not seeing elite strikers, and it doesn't matter what Arteta can moan and groan and whatever, you know, and he's press conferences, I'm not even listening to him, because you deserve them, you deserve all the pain, because you've wanted this, you know.
I wanted to say
his
two
press
more
conf-
things, just really. Oh, sorry, go on, Turkish.
are you going to bring his press conference back up, or is now the time?
No, I just wanted. I was going back to just some of the performances, but go on, touch on the press conference because that was.
Is it just me that feels like he, you know, with the Partey mistake, and best believe it's a mistake. I don't care if you're out of position, you defend much better than that, right?
Yeah, that was
but he was very open with basically saying that cost us, right? But how many times has the attack cost us this year? And he's never been open about it. He talks about the chances created and we dominated the game, and he can't believe how. Why is it the one time? Well, I say one time, but that defensive, he's so open in saying that's what cost us, and he's big. His tone's changed this week on the transfer stuff, but his tone even changed yesterday in terms of now I think he might buy a defender. I think we might get a defender in the last week and a half, and I'm not saying we might need it.
We need a right back, Turkish.
Yeah, I'm not saying, Lee, I'm not saying we don't. But what I'm saying is, imagine after all this, it's another defender that comes in.
You got to feel for the defenders, because God forbid they make one mistake, and we seem to be punished with every single one. Do you remember Kivior at Fulham? He largely had a pretty good game, but the one time he actually didn't really go for the ball, Jimenez is in, fires it into the far corner, and you think, oh my word. So don't get me wrong, you know, Saliba and Partey get out to the Son volley and it trickles into the back of our own net. The defense is largely doing their job. I know we're not keeping many clean sheets, and there are some silly goals in there, but you got to think over a whole 90 minutes, they're doing pretty well to actually keep teams out. Villa were kept at arm's length for a lot of that game, but the attack, albeit it was a little bit more inventive in this game against Villa, still far from clinical enough. Now, one of the things two quick things I really want to mention. Sorry, Jordan. Sorry, just super quick. Mourinho got some heat online again. I don't really know what people expected Mourinho to be.
A bit better than what he is, James. That's all I expect.
What did he do wrong in this game? I don't really. Okay, the Tielemans.
I think it's more about doing something right more than what have you done wrong now.
But he played a lovely slip ball to Trossard for that first goal. You know, I thought the reason Trossard looked good was because he was playing outside and inside, and the reason he was able to make that run on the inside is because Mourinho at times was going on the touchline like Granit Xhaka used to and holding the width. So he actually gave us some alternating of positions on that left, and Lewis Skelly makes that same underlapping run through there because once again the left-hand side for once, which we slagged off all year, was actually operating. So Mourinho was, look, I wouldn't give him more than a 6, but and probably for that Tielemans goal you bring it down to a 5, but generally I thought he was fine. On the other hand, Ødegaard though, I need you to be braver, my friend. There was one moment in the first half, I don't know if you remember it, where the ball's on the left and it makes its way central. I think Timber gets a touch and he takes a touch, and all you can see in front of him is the penalty area and the Villa defence. Partey, Ødegaard, Martinelli, who all obviously tucked in, the ball on the left, they all sprinted to the right. And I looked at them thinking, the goal's that way, not that way. And I get it, Martinelli's going to go to the touch, and I get Partey might be looking for an option. Ødegaard, do you want that ball in a tight space? Do you want to take on a man? Do you want a touch return that takes a defender out of the game? And then every time he did get the ball, again, quite wide, quite far away from the penalty area, he's looping crosses to the back post that are so inviting for defenses and goalkeepers. You know, you might hit the first man, but whip it. You know, do something that is going to feel like you might get this wrong, but at least you tried. And I feel like we're not getting enough of that from Ødegaard. That's it. That's all I'll say. And I'll just, see what else people are saying. But yeah, they were my main gripes, really. The attack and Ødegaard.
Fundamentally, it all comes down to the transfer window, the summer one I'm talking about, because Mourinho should never be the final piece as you've made it look. Because if he's your final signing of the big summer before the expected major trophy coming in, then you've insinuated this is the final piece. So our football shouldn't be regressing. It's not Mourinho's fault because we know Arteta's to blame tactically for this, or talent ID wise. Because Mourinho, I liked him before. I still think there's a player there, but he is not that player.
No, he's not.
He is not that player. He's a rotation option that you can bring in, bring out. You know, he can start in the 8, he can keep it moving, he can help win you games, and that's in a well-run team. We made him the star signing. We waited weeks for it. He's come in, Mikel, all of this stuff, nonsense again. And it's not his fault, but it is that. With Odegaard, I mean, one thing about Saka is when Odegaard was out, Saka still delivered, right? He still showed he can win you games, right? So I think there's no debate, right? You know, moving forward about who is the better player or more important player, because Odegaard can't do it without Saka.
Completely
At
agree.
the same time, Odegaard deserves criticism, 100%. Probably getting more so than deserved, but he deserves criticism. But the reason I put it back to the club is if he had other attackers around him, he'd have a bit more space to work into. He'd have more of the, I don't know, he'd have more options in front of him. We'd probably have a better run attack. By that I mean smooth and fluid and so on. So fundamentally, it all comes down to that, and it's a shame because we built up such a unit over the last 2.5, 3 years that it's exposing a lot of flaws. That all of a sudden, we last summer said 2 pieces, striker 8. Let's do this. Now, if we talk about the summer now, right now, we're probably talking 3 attackers, maybe 2 midfielders. That's 5 already. Without talking about maybe another defender or keeper definitely coming in with net. But how are we going from 1-2 to 6? I'll tell you how. It happened many times on the Wenger League. Jordan, you might remember this. James, you'll even remember this. 1-2 players away went to 4, 5, 6 players away, just like that.
Yeah, it does.
Just like that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
It's true.
Oh dear.
Hey, Jordan. Sorry.
Oh man.
I said I didn't have a lot to say, then I spoke for 10 minutes. So there we go.
No, it's all interesting. And I've got a few points just to kind of that you've all made. I'll just race through them. I mean, Lee started off by saying that Villa have better attacking options than we do, and they do. The question I have then is, have they got better midfield options than we do? As a collective, were you taking their midfielders before our midfielders? I mean, it's close.
Squad depth. If you our 3 is better than their first 3, but then our next 3 is worse than their. I mean, okay, let's go through them.
Bring me Rodgers next season, please. I love him. I've always liked Jacob Ramsey. You got Tielemans, you've got Onana, you've got Kamara, John McGinn. The captain wasn't even there on the weekend. They got some solid. They're not. There's no worldies in there. But as a collective, anyway, I'm just wondering if
Barkley, McGinn, Tielemans, Buendia, Onana, Rodgers, Ramsey, Kamara. Oh my word! Yeah, I mean they've got more depth in midfield. There's no question. I mean, obviously Rice and Odegaard would start in any midfield if you're pulling 2 squads together.
As a collective,
I mean, yeah, I can name 5 players.
Wasn't Tielemans free transfer the year we signed Havertz?
Yeah,
don't even.
He was in it.
Yes, we wanted him.
Could have got him.
We didn't want him, James. Trust me, we did. Well, if we want him, we get him. If it's bro, trust me. All of these things is bullshit, bro. You think Villa are gonna? If we want a player, bro, we're getting him ahead of Villa. A free transfer. Even if it's 10, 15k less, then it's London, it's Arsenal, it's a big bro. We wasn't in for him. That would have been light work if we was in for him.
It probably would have. I mean, but I just was, as Lee was talking about the attacking options, I think to myself, I've always, for 2 or 3 years now, Emery's built a really good squad there. He has built, and their defenders aren't rubbish either. I mean, I'm taking our defenders before theirs, but their defenders as a group, they've got anyway. So the point I'm making is squad building at Villa versus squad building at Arsenal. There's some for probably half the price, but that's my first point. I had a few friends over when we was watching the game on the weekend, and as soon as the second goal went in, everyone was going crazy, and rightfully so. The first thing I said was, get the third. Because too many times this season, we've not deaded games. We've not killed games. Too often, even the Spurs game, we won 2-1. We didn't kill it. Let's have it right. Porro could have nicked it at the end. For all the battering that we gave them chance-wise, they could have got out there with a draw. We're not killing teams. So this wasn't a surprise to me. Villa are a good team. 2 good goals, but 2 goals that should at the same time have been prevented. Let's have it right, guys. We're in a top 4 fight. I looked at the table. Manchester City are 6 points now behind us, and we've got them in 2 weeks. If they come to the Emirates in 2 weeks and beat us, if you think me saying we're in a top 4 fight now is a little bit premature, you better know then if they win at the Emirates, we're definitely in a top 4 fight. We've gone from being title contenders, cutting the gap on Wednesday, to now being, for me, in a top 4 fight. That's not me being hyperbolic. It's just looking at the table. City have got a groove. They're about to spend 100 mil on, I think, 3 players to get themselves back into a series. The title's gone for them. They won't win the title, but they're moving mad. They know a bad season for City is 4th. That's a bad season for City. So they know, worst case, get out with top 4. That's my second point. I want to give praise to somebody that I've been hard on all season. I actually thought the Flirter was really, really good for an hour. I thought he was brilliant. All the things that I've been calling him out for this season, wing play, he did. He beat his man. He got some good crosses in the first half in particular. There was one instance where I think for the first time maybe in a year, guys, he actually beat his man, burned him so much so the guy Matt had to foul him and he got booked. So I'm like, where's this Flirter been? The guy we saw 2 years ago.
And taken off at half time, I think.
Took him off at half time. I thought he was really, really, really good. I agree. Trossard was also very good. But for me, the Flirter, this is what I want to see. I thought he was playing really well before the goal. Before he even scored, I was like, this is the guy that I recognize. And for me, that getting in at the back post where he scored his goal, when was the last time he did that? When was the last time he hit the back post, like crashed the back post and got the goal? I was really happy for him because I think he's been really, really poor all season. When people talk about him, he was good today, he had a good game. I'm like, we're watching 2 different games. That is wing play. Even if you don't score a goal, take on your man, win some corners, get some shots off. That's wing play. Don't just get on the ball and step over and pass it off. Do something. So I want to big him up because I thought he was really, really good. I won't go on to Havertz because there's just no point. But one thing I do disagree with James on, I do think Mourinho had a shocker. I thought it was a really poor performance. And let me tell you why. When people have criticized Mourinho over the last couple of months, I've defended him not because I think he's had a particularly great performance, but I watch him with my eyes and I see a player. It's not like with some guys, like Sterling. Sterling's gone. He's done. There's not a player there anymore. He's done. Forget performances. He's actually done, in my opinion. Whereas at least with Mourinho, I'm like, no, there's a player there. This game, I watched him, and he wasn't defensively winning balls back and being a presence defensively. He wasn't in the middle of the park creating and spraying balls and putting people through. And he wasn't crashing the box as a goal threat either. So I'm like, if those are the 3 things which I think you can do, but you didn't do, a couple of nice, cute passes, all right. But over the course of the game, I thought he was poor. And it was very hard for me to defend him against people who say, well, what does he do? You haven't got to put it in the top corner for me to rate you. You haven't got to do a step over and beat 3 players for me to rate you. But and this was the game where I was like, even I can't really pick out 3 or 4 examples of things that you did well in a way that I might have been able to in other matches. And just another point, just final point for me in terms of Aston Villa. Is it just me, or does it feel like other teams' conversion percentage against us is really high? It feels like teams have like a couple of chances and score 1. We're having to create 5, 6, 7 chances to create 1, whereas in a lot of games, teams are playing us and they're scoring with their first or second chance. Now, that might just be bad luck. They get 3 chances, score 2 goals. That might be bad luck. But if it's not bad luck, what is that? Because there's definitely a trend. I'll go for the game.
Top teams do, Jordan. That's you're in the Premier League.
But these aren't always top teams. These aren't always top teams.
I tell you who else has got a poor record. Liverpool. They create a lot of chances and miss as well. They're the same as Arsenal. They're not as ruthless as, maybe because they have more chances. They're not so careful. Maybe like when you know you're only going to get 1 or 2 chances, you make sure. I don't know.
Yeah, look at the thing
Tottenham
about
had 2
Liverpool.
shots on goal. Tottenham had 2 shots on goal, scored 1. Villa had 2 shots on goal, scored 2. Newcastle had 2 shots on goal, scored 2. Manchester United had 1 shot on goal, scored 1.
Yeah, I'm just looking at those exact games, and actually, you can even go a layer, further. Who are the goal scorers for Villa? Okay, right, Tielemans isn't really renowned for his goals. He does get some goals from midfield. But the big one there is Ollie Watkins, known for goal scoring. Heung-min Son, who's been in terrible form, still known for his ability to get goals across his career. Bruno Fernandes in the FA Cup. He has always been someone, and I don't rate him massively, he's always been someone who's known how to strike a ball. Isak and Gordon. Gordon, one of the most informed left wingers in the Premier League in the last year. And Isak, let's not even go into it. Okay, then talking a penalty at Brighton, whatever happens, and then Brentford, it's Brian and Mbeumo.
Jimenez at Fulham, they didn't have many chances, but I guess I'm asking you guys: do you think this is just a little bit of bad luck, or is there something we're doing wrong? Because I'm seeing teams not getting a lot of chances, but scoring 1 in 2, 1 in 3.
Okay, I've seen a lot of people talk about this. The bad luck side of things. Now, let's acknowledge the good luck we've had.
I'm not saying it's bad luck.
No, I know. A penalty we should never have had against Man United, and a corner we should never have had against Tottenham. So in the last 3-4 games, we've had a little bit of, let's call it, refereeing luck go our way. But there's definitely something about us this season in terms of the injuries, and you're right, just like everyone seems to be at their absolute most firing best against us. But I don't watch enough of other games to kind of know if that's the case, whether that's just we're catching them on bad days. And to a degree, like, that Jimenez goal, you look at it and you go, oh, it's just a really good goal. But I'm just like, does he score that all like 8 or 9 out of 10 shots? I think he probably scores it twice. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe not. This is where things like XG are quite a good stat. But like I said, I read out those names and ultimately quality. Mbeumo, Isak, Gordon, Bruno Fernandes, Heung-min Son. All these players are players renowned for ball striking and quality in front of goal, and we don't have that. And there were just moments, even against Villa, even though the attack probably deserved more credit for this performance than they certainly deserved recently. Still, it was just like, when unless we played brilliant football and opened up Villa, where was a goal coming from? We don't have a player that can just go, we've not been great, but boom, top corner.
I think you've read it wrong though, Jordan. I can't lie to you because
Go on.
Let's look at shots on target. Let me look at it now quickly. I've even got the fixtures up behind me, right? So let me click Brighton. Brighton 1-1. Shots on target. Arsenal 3, Brighton 4. The game finished 1-1. Yeah. Arsenal Newcastle. Shots on target. Arsenal 3, Newcastle 4. The game finished 2-0 Newcastle. Shots on target. Arsenal United. United had 4. We had 7. Game finished 1-1. 120 minutes. So it's not that we're blowing them out the water. Arsenal 6, Aston Villa 4. And the other one, Arsenal Tottenham, is 4-2. So we scored 50% of our shots on goal. They scored 50% of their shots on goal. I think you're looking at the match. We dominate the ball and how much. Funnily enough, you say we flirt around the box as a team. We flirt, and then throw in we just throw in the ball and then just hope for the best and see what happens.
Yeah.
So really, we ain't like how many saves did Tottenham's keeper have to make? How many? Do you remember any great saves? How many great saves have you throughout the season against Arsenal? Do you remember this season? Because we do in the past season for sure. This season, how many times have we looked at a goalkeeper's performance and said, "Wow"?
Leicester at home was the last time. Hermanson.
Yeah.
Hermanson, is that his name?
United keeper had a good game.
Bayender, okay. Yeah, Bayender had a
Well, that's
after the
poor
10
finishing
men
as well, but yeah, he did have a good game.
After the 10 men, we had our first shot on target.
Yeah.
So even that 7-4 thing I just read with Man United, in context, 7 of those came when they had 10 men.
The last 2
came
games,
11 on 11.
The last 2 games, Turkish, have been a lot better though to watch. You know what I mean? Forget statistics, forget stats and everything. The last 2 games, I've actually thought they're not been too bad of games. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't been bored. Put it that way, like, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's interestingly because we're 35 minutes in. Actually, none of us have mentioned Arteta, which I think probably captures that none of us really think this particular game was massively on him. But I mean, come in if you guys disagree. Go on.
Yes and no.
Go on.
Yes and no. Because I've been talking. I was chatting to actually Laurie about this earlier on, and he asked me that question, and I said yes and no. So I think no, it's not on him. And as far as there's nothing in the game that I thought tactically he did wrong, missing chances is not on him. But yes, because the reason why our striker is missing chances is because the guy you put the house on. The reason, I mean, the Partey thing is a choice,
Ultimately,
but when you've got
it's true.
two right back,
Ultimately, you're right, 100%. I'm saying,
yeah,
I'm backing
the right back thing. You could argue is unlucky. You got your two right backs out injured, but you still. Who's the third?
Tomiyasu.
So why don't you play your centre back that you bought?
What I was going to say, I was going to
he's left-footed. Oh, you can't play two. Can't play two.
I was just going to say, like, I have a bit of sympathy. I have a bit of sympathy with him that his right backs are out, but you still choose to not put another defender there. You choose to put Partey there.
He even played Mari and Gabriel together. Actually, I remember.
Why can't you play a left back at right back? And people go, "Man, because he ain't got
Lee,
right."
He didn't need to. He's got two centre backs. Lee,
wide right then.
There's two centre backs. Lee,
wide right.
And to be honest, you could say three with Declan Rice. You could
Jordan,
say he's played there.
Right. You're right. It was two right backs out because Timber was available. He just went to centre back. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So I think when people say, "Is this on Arteta?" I think in isolation, the game, no. But the reason why we haven't got a striker that can take those chances and kill that game off is because of the decisions that you've made with the board. And I'm all the in our Arteta stuff is starting and whatever. I'm still backing this manager, but you were part of the decision making that brought in these players. This is not a case. You're not just a coach anymore, bro. You're the manager. You're involved in the squad building, not just give me players and I'll win on the weekend. So there is some blame to put on his lap as well.
So that's what I was coming on to say.
Well, James.
Sorry,
Josh Nichols is injured as well.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. So that was what I was going to come on to say. That in isolation, in terms of on the morning of Saturday, when you looked at who he had available and how he had that team ready for the Saturday game, I don't think there's anything really Arteta could have done differently, massively. I think in game he could play with the puzzle a little bit. Like, you know, he could play Partey 6 and Rice centre back and Timber right back. Why not? Like, you know, you could do something like that. I think you could tweak the dynamics, but largely, I don't know if it would have made a lot of difference. I think what you said there about basically after this being his fifth full season, I think 5th or 6th, one of them, for these to be your options as your forwards. And I get it. Waneri, Saka, Jesus are out injured, but one's a 17-year-old and one we didn't think was good enough anyway. So, you know, I don't really think you can make many excuses on that front. We also went into this game with Trossard and Havertz starting, and those two were starting in the run-in last season when we were winning game after game after game. So that would tell you that to a degree they must be good enough for something. Okay, maybe as squad players, but broken record. It is an extremely underfunded position, and I don't include the Kai Havertz £65 million because he wasn't signed for that. No. It's just we'll just use him there, and so part of me almost feels sorry for Kai, but he's not imposing himself enough either. And
his form from last season is incredible. It's incredible.
Fallen off a cliff.
It's fallen off a cliff. He has no confidence. It's just absolutely. He was super. I thought he was brilliant last season.
His Premier League career, he's been off the cliff. He's only been on the cliff for 6 months, and that was 6 months last year. So he's been off the cliff more than he's been on the cliff. Well, you can't say fallen off the cliff. How long have you been on the cliff?
Okay, fine. But can I say, just for the sake, because I will have a lot of negative things to say about his performances, but I felt he actually started this season well. I just want that out there. I think he started with goals against PSG, Brighton, Wolves. I thought he did well away at Tottenham. I thought, he played his part at City as we were all fighting for a result that ultimately we dropped 2 points in. I felt he started well. The minute Ødegaard came out the team and Arteta messed around with what he had to do,
great point.
got him out to the touchline, into the 10 space, and he stopped being an out-and-out 9. The 1 minute he had, I remember Southampton at home, you know, he dragged us back into that, and he was superb the last half hour. So I actually think we've seen a bit of last season's cut at the start of this season. But since around, like, Inter Milan, he's just been horrendous. Like, absolutely, maybe Newcastle away. He's been awful, and he's got worse and worse. This week, Villa Tottenham, I know there's a draw and a win in there. He was worse than last week when we lost both games.
I thought he was poor, James. What did he do? I know he scored the goal, but what did he do over the net? What did he do over the net?
The goal wasn't a great finish. So am I being really harsh? I know he scored, but am I being really harsh? It was straight at Emmy. Emmy Marcus.
It was a clean strike.
Keeper's got to save it.
He connected well. Like,
connected well, yeah.
But that's like, sorry, some people go, he scored. Why are you hating on him? Because how long are we going to talk about when he's not scoring? Havertz fans want to tell us that there's more to his game, and yet this was the one game where actually he scored, but there was kind of nothing else to his game. I've been really disappointed by him, and I think part of it is coaching.
He was running with the ball, he ran it out.
Yeah, I know.
You come on, you know. I mean, this is. I know, like, you know, he don't want to do that, but he actually got the ball, went to turn out and ran it out. And you know, you listen. I've been a supporter of him, but he does not deserve to be in this Arsenal team at this moment in time. And I feel for him because he's playing with zero confidence. He's not playing well. But listen, his work rate yesterday, and he put himself about and puts himself up for the criticism. I've got admiration for that. But ultimately, he should not be in this team. Ødegaard shouldn't be in this team, by the way. This moment in time.
We should be good enough. We should have a squad good enough that if they're not performing, they can come out. Our highest paid player and our captain can come out, and 2 others come in. And I say that, I don't say that easily, because last season, okay, it wasn't because of that, you know, poor form, but at home to Villa, Guardiola took De Bruyne and Haaland out the team because he had options he could turn to. And that's where the squad building has massively failed. And especially when you're being forced to make these changes because the performances aren't great and you can't, because there's literally no one else. So while I'm annoyed at these players for their performances, they've got to keep going. They've got to keep running. 120, another 90, 2 days a week for 7, 8 weeks in a row. Keep playing. Squad's not there.
Left Ødegaard out against Brighton, everybody's going, "Oh, why was Ødegaard being left out?" But the realistic he is, he should have been left out. But when you're replacing him, you're replacing him with nothing. It's just a completely different midfield. You're actually playing Jorginho, Rice, and Marino, which is not good enough. So he's got to play. And same with Havertz. If Havertz doesn't play, who are you going to play? Sterling. I can't be dealing with him much more. I really can't. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather give a kid a go.
Look at Liverpool. Look at Liverpool. 1 year, they've already got Mane, Salah, Firmino. Then they buy Jota. I think that was like 2019 or maybe 2020. They buy Jota on top of that front three. Then Mane leaves 2022.
They signed Diaz before Mane left. Can I just say?
Was it? Are you sure about that?
Yeah. Diaz came in. They're going for the quadruple in January. I promise you, they played.
Oh, was
together.
it? Oh, yeah. You're right. And then Nunes came in the summer.
Yeah.
And then the year after, this is the key here. And this is the same applied for Ødegaard and Marino earlier. And it can apply for Havertz here in one way. It can apply for Havertz another way. Nunes ain't an integral cog to Liverpool. He is an impact player. He's in a rotation. He's integral in that sense. He's an 80 million signing. They quickly realized what it is, and they carried on buying forwards. Gakpo. How many times has he won them points this season? It hasn't just been Salah. Salah's been the guy. Nunes, he's won them points. They even got Chiesa in the summer. Not that he's had an impact, but do you see how they're churning out, buying attackers? Whilst over the years, all right, they've neglected the midfield, but then Gravenberch comes out, and a year in, he looks a great midfielder now.
We're trying to make it work, is what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah, like
we're trying to make it work.
With Havertz, we should never have gone into the season with him being the main man, but we made that investment, and we didn't want to improve the attacking position. So, Havertz is, to be honest, Saka's the main man because he's the best of the lot. but Havertz is the other main man in that attack. We were being real. And the club shouldn't let that happen, because I think Havertz as an option it would be decent. I think Havertz off the bench would be a good, valuable member of the squad.
Yeah.
But you can't have that for 275. And you've got to start showing that you understand how big a problem it is.
Liverpool chasing the game brought on Andy Robertson, Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, Federico Chiesa, and Darwin Núñez. I don't love all those players, but my word, like you can point to something that they're going to change about that team. Elliott, very creative. Jones, creative and industrious. Robertson,
did you see the game? Did you watch the game?
No.
Yeah, I did.
They weren't that impressive. They weren't that. They missed a lot of chances, miss. And then at the end, they get a crossing, it takes deflection, brilliant finish. But they just when you think that it weren't going, that would have been, if that would have been Arsenal, would have been moaning about missed chances and whatever, And I go down the other end. Brentford had 4 or 5 really good chances they created themselves. Alisson made 3 good saves. Brilliant saves. They missed chances and they conceded chances in that game. It wasn't a brilliant Liverpool performance, but they got the job done. They got over the line because they have got players. They're not all their players that they're bringing on were all top players to a certain degree, But we all we had to bring on yesterday was Sterling from an attacking point of view. Who else could we bring on? Jorginho. Is a holding midfield player. Who else was there to come on? Who else was there to come on?
And that's why how did man get away with this? Who's to be? I remember how jubilant the stadium and the fan base in general, online and offline, was after Reece Nelson scored that winner against Bournemouth. Remember that? Or even Eddie come off the bench a couple of times and scored us winners or equalizers. Or even Havertz last year, when he was out of form, he came back into form because he came off the bench, I think, against Luton and won us the game.
Brentford,
and won us the game. Bro, like how we left ourselves with this team this year, and then with a manager that loves fine margins so much. You see Arteta and Kroenke, it was Arteta, Edu, Kroenke. Just because Edu's left, it's not all Edu. It's Arteta, Kroenke. I don't give a shit if Edu's left. You're both, like, obviously Kroenke's are ultimately the most culpable, but this is the manager. Jordan, you said it earlier, and I want to hear from you next, actually, because you've been trying to get a word in, but he's the manager, and he's on 15 M's. Don't take away. The two around him, Guardiola runs everything. Simeone runs everything. And by that, I mean, bottom line is them. So don't tell me the guy that's above Simeone and a couple mil behind that Guardiola, it's all out of his hands. You don't pay this big money for it not to be in his hands.
Can we just do that for a second? That Arteta is second to Guardiola in the listen. His agent's got to come and get me a job, because I'm telling you, I like Arteta and I think he deserves a good contract. But for him to be getting more than Ancelotti and Simeone, that's a bad thing. I was actually more pissed off at the Liverpool late win than I was the Arsenal draw. I'm going to be real. I was when Liverpool scored that first goal, I was so angry because the Villa equalizer didn't surprise me. I wasn't shocked. So for me, I was a little bit numb to it. Whereas you genuinely thought, okay, Liverpool are going to drop some points here, and then we couldn't. What we did, we couldn't capitalize even if they had dropped points. Just a couple of things that you guys won't like. I just put on the website, the Arsenal website, and that new merch actually is quite good actually.
It's lovely. I see loads of people wearing it yesterday, Jordan.
I'll have a look now. That's what's important. We've got some players to sign. If I can help, if there's anything.
And
then
secondly,
let me see what I can do.
While you're looking at that, secondly, I think if Saliba plays, that second goal doesn't get conceded. I think Saliba was a miss. I mean, I know we'll never know, and I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying. Go on.
On that goal, you mentioned that goal there, Jordan. Sorry, the comments are going to be mad for interrupting, but actually, is the point you're making. How much do you blame Partey? Is that just you're not a right back, or do you think? No. That's
I think if you're a professional player, and I'd love to get Lee's thoughts on this. If you're a player, even if you're a striker and you're not used to being in that position, there's a level of common sense of I'm marking this guy. So if I'm marking him, mark him. You don't go wandering around and try and win the ball. You focus on, this is my guy. Whatever happens, they may score. Whatever happens, but this guy can't get a free. By the way, it's a brilliant finish. Like,
It is a very good finish.
It's come at him at pace. It's come at his hips. He had to readjust his body and get his. It's a brilliant finish. But I put all the blame on him on that.
What you taught as a when you was playing was you defend your far post. You know what I mean? Like, if you're central defender, you defend the penalty spot, the middle of it all there. If you're the first fullback, it's the near post. He just doesn't defend the far post, and the fact is he's out of position, and you can look at it and go, well, that ain't his position. But it's a basic goal for a fullback, isn't it, to defend? That, you know, and he's got caught out.
Any player, not a fullback, for a footballer.
Yeah, like, listen, even when you're a midfield player or a defensive one of that he is a defensive midfield player, by the way. You have to defend crosses. You have to defend, your own box at times. You know what I mean? Like, and he just doesn't do it. You know, Marino for the first goal doesn't go with his runner. You know what I mean? It's it's a great finish and it's a great cross, which Arteta was quite complimentary of a wonderful cross and all that, right? You know, but at the end of it, you've got to defend it. I see Arsenal putting in wonderful crosses, and I see their defenders defending it. And so you've got to track your runner. And I'd say it's lazy defending. I just think at the end of the day, what hurt me about the Marino one over the Tielemans one is that one player wants it more than the other, if I'll be really honest. You know, I know that, again, you look at it and go, well, he's got the goal at the end of it. Maybe if it was the other way round, Marino wins that battle. You know, sometimes that's just how it is. You're a little bit more willing to put your body on the line for a goal than defend the goal. But that's what Gabriel, you can't throw at his door. You know, and that's the difference. If it was down, if Gabriel would defend that. But listen, Gabriel's made mistakes. Gabriel made a slight mistake against Man United. Got punished for it. Partey's made a mistake in that role there. I don't know if Ben White or Timber would have made that mistake as well. I don't think that they would have. I think Ben White's been missed more than what anybody thinks, by the way. But Thomas Partey, I'm going to say I see flaws in his game at Tottenham. I don't know if you see it when Tottenham had the youngsters in there, and they were running 50, 60 yards from one box to the other without being challenged because he wasn't getting across. And then you're putting him at right back and getting him exposed into areas where, if I'd be really honest, you don't want centre halves and central midfielders going, do you? But you're putting him there. And by and large, you've done it okay. You've done a good job. But I tell you what, one of the things that I will say, why was Odegaard quiet? Went missing in the second half because he hasn't got the player that can break the lines with the passes into Odegaard, which Partey does very, very well. And we haven't got that.
I've just stumbled on a thought, though, actually, as you were saying all that. I think there's too many players in this team that don't want to impose themselves physically when they really, really have to, when the game becomes a bit like that. And the reason I thought that was because I think of Partey defensively. He's not sprinting out to Digne, if I'm not mistaken, to block the cross. And yes, Marino should do better. And he doesn't follow, he doesn't follow the back post. But it's not just him. I mean, Odegaard doesn't, and I said this earlier, he doesn't want the ball in tight spaces. He doesn't say, give it to me, and with some trickery and some class, I will make a space that wasn't there because I'm brilliant on the ball. Kai Havertz is quite similar as well. He doesn't say, give me the ball when there's 2-3 defenders. I'll pin one and roll it back into your feet to drive forward, or I'll flick it beyond, or I might actually turn the guy and hit it, off my other foot into the top corner or force a save out the keeper. We don't have a lot of players that we do some. Declan Rice is one of them. When the going gets tough, Bukayo Saka's one of them. They will be in the physical wars. They will be driving through players. That disallowed Marino goal comes from Rice winning the ball from a bad pass, shrugging others off, then driving into a congested area, and then digging the cross out with his weaker foot. He's just in the scraps. It's Sunday league football. I'm just going to make it happen. And Bukayo Saka always, give me the ball, foul, give me the ball in tight spaces. I'm going to run at someone, or give it to me more central. I'm going to see if I can turn and make something happen. There's certain players that want to play where the space is, or want to back off and want to almost wait for the game to happen rather than make it happen. And I think Partey, Odegaard and Havertz all showed that against Villa, whether it be defensively or going forward. And it's going to be the players like Saka and Rice, and Gabriel's one of them. Lewis Skelly for sure. Lewis Skelly runs into all sorts of traffic but comes out with it. It's those players that are the ones that are not only shining now through a bad period, but that we're going to want to rely on long term, because
James,
when the going gets tough, they want it.
Do you think if we was 2-0 down, we'd have dug out like what Villa done?
No.
Nor do I.
Look at the whip on that Cash cross with his left foot. It was Cash, right, for the Watkins goal. Puts onto his weaker foot. Who was it?
I think so.
Wasn't it Digne?
Oh, Digne. Yeah, Digne. Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Well, Digne did it for both. He crossed both balls.
No, the first one, the second one. I think it was.
Sorry,
the second one was Cash, wasn't it? On his
weaker
weaker
second
foot.
one. Oh.
Puts on his left, whip, bam, whip. You know, that kind of cross that gives. You might get it wrong. It's a more difficult cross to execute than a loopy cross into an area. But if you do that, you're making the job so easy for the attacking player. Look at Havertz. I'm taking you all the way back now. Havertz's goal on the opening day against Wolves. Saka, yeah, it's not quite as whipped, but it's not some lofty, hey striker, can you do all the work? There's enough on it for Havertz just run, good time, bam, I'm just going to nod it in. I'm going to just, the job's been done by the cross. And that's what I'm disappointed in Odegaard. That's why I say it's a lack of bravery. I think he's worried about getting it wrong. He just wants to make sure he hits the area. I just think we need to see more personality from some of these players. I know Chelsea players called him Shy Havertz, and that feels a touch harsh, but I get where the nickname comes from, because it's a bit like, you're a professional footballer. You're talented enough to have got to this level. What do we mean confidence? And I've used the confidence thing before, but at some point, what are we saying? That basically at some point you'll get a bit lucky, the ball go in the back of the net like you did against Villa, and suddenly you'll come alive. No, Kai, make it happen for yourself. You're 6'4", mate. You're actually quite quick. The German national team rate you and play. Real Madrid and Bayern Munich wanted you. Mikel Arteta spent all this money on you. Of course, there's going to be certain things that knocks your confidence, and you might not be feeling as confident as you were in the run-in. But Arsenal needed you. Demand the ball. Show some personality. Try dig us out of it. And we're not seeing that from not just him, but a few too many.
Just quickly, I think you mentioned Declan Rice there. I think it's important that we do mention his performance in the second half, because he was the only person in that second half that, genuinely, Gabriel as well, maybe, genuinely looked like they understood the importance of
Lewis Skelly, them three.
Lewis Skelly as well. Yeah, you're right. But Declan Rice looked like a pin dropped, and he recognised this is the title.
Give it his all, Jordan. Give it his all.
It wasn't he gave it his all. He did give it his all, but it was more. I think going back to James' point about bravery, he recognised that someone's got to grab this game, because if we don't, it's 2-2, lads. We've got 15 minutes left. This is the title. Yeah. And he did 2 or 3 things in that last 15 minutes that showed me he understood the assignment. So there were other players that I don't think down tools or gave up, but he was the one that seemed to actively give me the ball. I'm going to try. James has articulated it so well. Give me the ball. I'm going to try something, because if we don't win this game, and when the dressing room in 15 minutes time, we're all going to be quiet and sitting down and looking sad and looking pissed off. Let's not do that. Let's try and fix it right now. It didn't happen, but he was the only person that genuinely looked like.
And that's maybe why he's probably the captain in waiting, because when it really mattered, Odegaard was not there. He wasn't there yesterday. Saturday. I actually looked at Odegaard for the first time and said, "Where are you? We need you today." And he just disappeared.
Erdegaard had plenty of touches on the ball. He had a lot of the ball. He attempted plenty of things. That's not my problem. My problem is, where did you do those things? That's my thing. It's all well and good drifting as far out wide, singing Partey, give me the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Martinelli, I'll drop a shoulder. I'll move inside. I might roll it in. Where did you beat a man? Did you
stayed out wide,
around
James?
2-3? Yeah.
Reflection of the manager. Safe
Well,
every position. You can't build a solid defensive unit and in every position in front of them you've gone safety first. The 8, safety first. Let's go with a more defensive DM. The 10 is an 8. The striker is a sub. The left and right wingers. Come on. Like even Saka, there was one stage we was looking at and was like, he ain't taking on the defenders as much, and then he just burst into life again. And Saka's just someone I don't think you can stop at this moment in time. He's elevating. You ain't telling me to pass back when I'm confident enough. Remember, I was talking about players that take that next step to say, well, fuck all that, Mikel, for a sec. I'm gonna take him on, yeah, and I rate that. But we no other player in their position is free. It's all safe.
Turkish, he's allowed to do it. He's the only one that's probably allowed to do it, if I'm being honest. I think they're all playing in a system and everything like that. Sometimes in football, you set up a system, and for some unknown reason, you've got more space out on the right than the left or in the middle and all that. Like they allowed yesterday to give Odegaard the space out on a certain part of the right, you know what I mean? It's particularly when it keeps breaking down with Sterling and all that. So my mind, I agree with what James is saying. Get yourself out of there and put yourself right in the heart of where it is and try and make something happen. He kept himself out on the periphery, in my opinion. I might be wrong, but that's how it looked.
That's how it felt to me, and that's why. Look, Trossard's performance wasn't littered with world-class moments throughout, but every time he got the ball, let me take on my fullback, outside, inside. I'll make runs from out wide, I'll make runs from the half space and underlap. And then there were moments he had one shot a goal. Okay, it was saved by Martinez. I think it took a deflection. He had another late at 2-2, which was saved by Martinez at the front post. He felt like everything was frantic when he was running with the ball. It felt like his feet didn't stop moving. He was constantly either going one way or the other. He was trying to find crosses. You know, he played one pass to Havertz, I think at 2-2 when Havertz made a run, in behind. Didn't quite come off. Decent effort. You're a little bit less on that. Maybe Havertz is in. There was something about Trossard's performance that I thought, not everything came off. If you looked at his stats, they're probably not that impressive. I mean, looked at them, they're probably not that impressive bar the 2 assists. But your eyes showed you there was a player there with beating his fullback and was constantly trying things. We're not actually asking, have any of us come on here and slated any player today? We haven't really. I mean, I've talked about Havertz and Erdegaard. Well, we haven't really. We're not completely unreasonable fans. We saw Trossard really trying. Martinelli, give him credit for, John. I didn't think he was actually great, but he was for sure better. And a lot of that was endeavour and trying and wanting to get to the front. I didn't give him enough credit probably for the goal because he wrestled his way in front of the fullback. It's trying, it's bravery. It's like it's just trying to wrestle us out of this form we're in. And there's some players who, in my opinion, are trying that a lot harder than others right now.
We are going to move on, but you say wrestle out of the form we're in, but the form we're in is us. Because this ain't a Saka injured problem or an Odegaard injured problem. We've seen it from the beginning of the season. It's been inconsistent.
Yeah.
I think Newcastle
we need help, Turkish. We need help.
Of course, we need help. Of course, but this is by design. What's happening now is by design. You leave yourself like this.
3 weeks tomorrow, that is, and nothing has been done.
Oh, 21 days, yeah.
21 days, 3 weeks.
By design. Again, it's just get Champions League football, Mikel. We're all good, buddy. We're all good. But we move.
Champions. Do you know what? Can I just say something? It's Champions League this week, right? Yeah. I'll have a look how many tickets are on exchange this week. Like, you know what I mean? That's how much everybody cares about the Champions League.
Oh, well, there's a lot available. Well, yeah, I mean,
because at the end of the day, it's not the be and end all, is it? It's the be and end all with them up there because it's money, but it ain't the be and end all. You know, the be and end all, like the 2 games that have just gone, Tottenham and Aston Villa.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we'll win this one, and then it'll be rosy on Thursday. But Dynamo Zagreb Wednesday night, they're 3rd in the Croatian league. Last competitive game, 22nd of December. They've had a
Bringing
few
me
friendlies
blanket and
since.
pillow.
They've had one win in the last 8 competitive games, 24 from 36 in the Champions League. Their wins come in away from home, but against Bratislava and Salzburg, and the other game away from home, Bayern 9, Zagreb 2. So Arsenal, just do what you need to do and move back onto Premier League, because like Lee said, we know we're through, whether that's top 8 or we have to qualify from being 9th to whatever it is. We know we're going to be there come February. It's the Premier League and other competitions that we're messing about in at this moment in time.
Part of me wants us not to qualify so they don't go on bloody holiday, a lot of them.
Oh, they're going. They're already. What do you mean? They've been out of the FA Cup. They're going to Dubai. They're there.
If you want the holiday, they need to qualify so they don't play these bloody qualifying games. I mean, basically, it'd be a nightmare if we have to play the qualifying games. 2 extra games for a squad that already can't hack it. Look, here's my my very unhopeful request for the week: win 2 games, sign a footballer. That is what I need from this week. The Champions League.
We needed that in week 1 of January, week 2 of January. We're just finishing week 3, and you're right. We needed it all 4 weeks, and we didn't deliver.
You should have said something Turkish if that's how you felt. I didn't realize.
I often bite my tongue. But
you're not.
I'm learning to express myself a bit.
Don't keep it in, man.
My therapist told me, to express yourself a bit more.
Did you not? Were you not happy with the summer transfer window?
So don't get me started on that, man. My therapist told me not to talk about that either.
Look, get busy, Arsenal. I saw the latest is Osman we've been linked with, so that's not off the back of that's.
My therapist is Curtis Shaw TV, by the way. Arsenal therapy. If you've seen it, that's why I've lost it a little bit. But we moved. Sorry to cut you, James.
No, not at all. I mean, who knows what Arsenal will do? I think they'll do something because it's so beyond desperate. But people, we need a midfielder as well. we need a lot. I mean, we
don't make me flip 1 hour 6 minutes in, man. Please.
No, I won't. But I mean, if we're being serious, right? We need a £50 million midfielder minimum and a £70 million forward. Obviously, they don't have to be those fees.
And if we're being serious, the time for being level. If we're being serious, the time for being serious was a long time ago.
3 weeks ago. If you want Arsenal,
3 weeks when we was in LA and Philadelphia, that was when it was.
Well, you can say that, but sometimes you make mistakes. You've got a chance to rectify it. Arsenal have proved to me that they're not really serious. They're not serious. 3 weeks in, nothing's done, and the first thing they do is go and get new merchandise out. Like, you know what I mean? Sorry, I'm done with it. I know exactly how the club want to be. Why should we all get the ump and get like stressed out and all that, like when the club don't care? They don't care. They don't care about it. They had a great chance of winning the league this year. Still had a great chance 3 weeks ago. Had a great chance until Saka went injured, and they've done nothing about it. So why should we lose our stuff and all that, like, you know what I mean? That's why someone said to me the other day, why didn't look like you had the ump and all that, like? Because I know what's coming. You don't think that another 3 or 4 of these results ain't coming this season, do you? Of course. We'll be here in about 6 weeks' time talking about, if only and when we get knocked out of the Champions League, when we drop more points somewhere down the line.
Lee, you're being nice. 6 weeks.
We've done nothing. They've absolutely done nothing about it. And they've had 3 weeks to do something about it, and they've done nothing.
Wolves away, Man City at home. It might be 1 2 weeks.
We'll get 3 points out of that.
1 2 weeks.
3 or 4 points. We don't win both of them.
And what a story that would be. A Man City come back round and start, they're doing what they do again and going on a run. And it gets even worse. But all right, Zagreb, here's the prediction table. That's how it's looking. Little change.
Oh, look, I've gone bottom as well. Like, what a fucking great weekend. You're laughing at Jordan.
Sorry.
Twat.
That's your guy.
I just love this podcast. I love this podcast, man.
Well done, Jordan, man.
All right, let's go. So I forgot. It's speed, isn't it? Yeah, sorry.
Oh, you're not used to it.
I'm not used to it, man. This is new. New positions for me. I'm going to this game, so it better be good. I'm going for a 3-0. Deluded scoreline, but I'm going 3-0.
3-0. James?
2-0.
2-0. I'm going 3-1.
I was going to go 5.
Wow.
I'll go 4.
What's that?
4-0.
4-0.
Can I just ask on that point? We've all gone for Arsenal wins. Are we all really confident we win this game?
Yeah, because they're crap.
This is Zagreb, man. Seriously, man. Like,
Right, you know what I mean? Like, you know.
Did you hear what I said? Third in Croatian league. Fucking 9-2 Bayern. Oh, their only wins Bratislava and forgot who else I said. Salzburg. If we don't beat them, then for goodness sake, man.
Yeah, you know what I mean? This is a give. It's a gimme, boys. It's a gimme.
James Q1-1 draw, and we come back on the pod next week.
Yeah, I mean this clip will go triple platinum if we don't win. But I think, in all seriousness, my confidence is in that. I thought we played well against Tottenham and actually well against Villa. Like I don't. Maybe a week before, I'd have felt like, well, you know, we've got our own problems. I think we were better for sure this week, just not good enough.
Yep. So that's all the predictions in, people. Everyone's predicting a win. It's Zagreb. Get the job done. Wolves away after that, but we'll be back before Wolves away, obviously. Thursday morning, the next show will come out, or afternoonish, and just on cue.
Sorry, just before we get to comments, guys, the streets are asking for the response from Turkish, but Lee's fan cam, where he called out Turkish after the game. The streets are just saying, are we going to get a Turkish versus Lee square off going on? Do you want a right to reply Turkish? Is basically what I'm asking.
The winner fights KSI.
I respect my elders, even when they're wrong.
Bloody hell!
Say no more. Got no right to tell fans what to do.
Go and wacka away then, innit?
There was a reluctance from a lot of fans to sing that. I felt like that way.
It was shook.
Reluctant. You think that's because of me?
I heard people
and
going,
not the stinkers you're
Turkey,
seeing out there. Oh my!
I'll be serious. When that goal went in, and then the fans started singing, there was definitely a few like.
I heard them go.
There wasn't a lot of bellowing of it. There was a bit of wacka. We're doing this, yeah.
Turkish told me not to sing this, so I'm not singing it like that. I mean, I actually didn't sing it because I thought Turkish. I didn't want to feel the wrath of Turkish. You know what I mean? Like,
I was in a club on Friday night. That song came on, and I sent it saying, "Did you see the message in the group, Turkish?"
No, I didn't.
I said Turkish's song request came on.
What, Friday night? Nah, I missed it. Yeah, and that's exactly why I turn notifications off, because people do bullshit, and I don't want to be a part of it. I rant, rave, and then I lock off. I'm offline, people. I'm offline. But before we get into comments of the day, this Friday, 24th of January, I believe, the judges, tell them.
Yeah, we've got a little Q&A thing going on the Hippodrome. So if you want to get tickets, I think there's a queue. If you got the thing up there, Turkish, if you like, you know, like as a what they call it, QA code or whatever.
QR code.
I ain't got the QR code. What do you mean? Have I got it?
I thought I sent you the code as well.
You sent me the link.
Oh, the link. Oh, right, the link. Just all right. The code or the link then. All right. Okay. Like,
it's in the description.
I just told you to send it to you, like, you know what I mean. So I said, so there's a link. If you go on to like Lee Judge's TV or the 12th Man, because it's really Dan's podcast. I'm guesting, so if you want to come, you can meet. I'll be there to meet and greet. You know what I mean? And there you go. Have a great time at the Hippodrome. It's 7:45. The boys go on stage, so
right, I
And
might
it's
come to that.
all of them there. I think Dan Lawless. I think there's a the Crystal Palace fan. All the ones that they do, like the 12 man. It's very, very good show. Of course, Dan runs it and he does very, very good. And I thought, because he helps me out and runs, if it weren't for him, so I thought I'll make a special guest appearance. So if you are in London and you want to come to the Hippodrome, it's a fantastic venue, by the way. So we've done one there before.
Apparently, you waived your appearance fee as well. That's what I heard. You told him to keep his appearance fee. You don't.
Yeah, I did. I did. Apparently, I did. I was told I didn't have an appearance fee, which is a ridiculous thing, like, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, so so if you can make it there like that, it'd be very good.
There you go, people. Link in the description if you'd like to meet lead judges, Dan Potts,
Personally.
couple of the others personally, yeah. then go to the link in the description. Yeah, but like Lee said, Dan's been on this podcast before. Good guy, good friend of the other people on the channel as well. So go show some love, people. Amongst others, I think Dee's a part of the panel too.
I think Sophie from the hybrid squad is flying over. All expenses, you know what I mean? Oh, Dan must be doing well, like, you know what I mean? I think she's just coincidentally she's over, like, you know what I mean? So
Dan Potts, we must talk, but we move into comments of the day. Is everyone ready?
Yeah, I saved one from a few days ago.
Yeah,
and reading
it
back.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I'm
it depends. Yeah.
But,
it depends how good it is. I mean,
see, children, they just do what they want. These two, they just do what they want. It's not right. You do what you want.
I'm telling you because I was sitting here all smug, right? Going, I've got my comment ready. It's not as good as I remember it, but anyway, Jacob was quoting Jordan. Jordan a year ago, we need to think about upgrading Gabriel. Jordan today, there may be a conversation on whether Gabriel is better than Saliba. Please never change, Jordan.
I've got that as well, and there's a few people that said that. Muppets. It was 2 years ago. I said we should upgrade on Gabriel. All right, it was 2 seasons ago. Yeah, so let's get factually correct at least. If you're gonna hammer me, be factually correct at least. I beg. Come on.
Also, things could change in a year. I mean, it was a bad opinion a year or two ago, but things could change. Things can change.
I'll take it.
He knows a player, Jordan. He does know a player.
I do.
Like
when he thought, who did he think was young? And he was 28. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Kanji, yeah. So he's only about 24.
That was a shocker.
Yeah, he's had a few shockers. Should be an electrician, really.
He's 29. Sorry.
Let me go next then. There were some more Muppets in the comments. There were some idiots that were commenting on the fact that, oh, why are you the celebration police? Why are you saying Trossard can't celebrate? People, all I said was a guy that turns up in a North London derby but doesn't turn up for the whole season. I don't forget that. Don't think a goal in the North London derby is enough to push out your chest and act like you're some bad man. You got the goal, get the ball, let's go. Because you've been missing all season. I wasn't saying people shouldn't celebrate. I know it's a North London derby, but at the North London derby, we always win it. That's not a big deal for me. The big deal is the other games before where he's gone missing. And I've also got it nice to see Turkish creating space for Jordan to talk whilst Lee and James invert. That one made me chuckle.
That's good.
Jordan, why do you want him to get the ball after putting us 2-1 up, though?
To get a third. Let's go. Get a fourth.
Brother, do you see the way we're playing, brother? Keep that ball in the back of the net. Keep that ball in the fucking back of the net.
Jordan, wasn't I getting slagged off in the comments? They were chatting about you or something, wasn't I?
Yeah.
You sent me some.
I sent it to you, didn't I? So basically what was happening was people were slagging me off. They were battering me, absolutely rinsing me, right? And then what did they say? They mentioned James's name as part of it. And I just thought it was really. I sent it to you, James. Read it out, James, because
they turned really on me. John sent me through. Was this
love for the love, Turkish? Me and you, mate. Love for the love.
Not this week, mate. Not this week. I'm telling you.
I
you might be alone this week.
Gundo. But so they were saying from when he said that I struggled to take anything he takes seriously. Were they talking about you or me? And then someone said I
He's worked
hate
for
him
both.
so much. I skip forward every time he talks. Hate? How can you hate? Okay, so one of us is hated. But then Gundo replied to that guy saying, I skip James, not Jordan. but the trouble is, James talks so much because he loves the sound of his own voice. It ends up taking up 60% of the podcast.
Why is James
Sorry.
catching strays? Like, there's no need for
That's
that.
okay. I think we should do the stats after every pod, like minutes spoken or something like that. That'd be fun. Just so I could reply to him.
I probably, yeah.
God,
Actually,
the football's crap at the moment, isn't it? Really, like
Oh,
we're doing
bad it is.
fucking,
Yeah.
we're doing field tilt on Forever Arsenal now. For fuck's sake, it's tactical
he's
insight.
got
Lost
his
it.
stats per minute now, like you're on, like that. Mate.
You're gonna
Oh,
see
stat man,
field
Ref-
tilt in the bottom corner.
Yeah.
Oh shit! My comment of the day. From Gun in Soul, man. Only reason Josh flew into London is to make sure Turkish doesn't deface his mural. He's seen Turkish's fan cam. Yeah, well, 31st of January, TikTok, Josh. TikTok. Like, to be honest with you, even if you fucking sign 2 players, 31st of January, TikTok. Yeah.
Turkish, what would leave you satisfied at the end of the January window? From the position we're in, 20th of January, we've done nothing. Load of games have been wasted. We've got this horrible injury crisis. We need like 3-4 players. But what would be a genuinely, at the end of January, you go, all right, fair.
120 M's, Gyökeres and Lukman.
Wow.
Or 100 M's, Lukman and Osimhen.
Cool.
You said satisfied, I guess.
Yeah,
you mean...
no, I asked that because I'm, slightly more forgiving at times, and I'm not sure I even come out this window massively satisfied if we get like Sesko for 70 million. Or that's not me saying I don't want the player or he's not very good. I do, but I just think there's so much work that needs to be done. I think I'll come out and go, yeah, that's significantly better, but it's just satisfied, actually like ready to go, like for February onwards.
The thing for me, guys, is, and Turkish mentioned a couple of players there that he would be satisfied with. I don't think anybody can satisfy me in this window now, because I've said twice now, the damage has been done.
Yeah.
Exactly
it's more or less that, yeah.
Horse has bolted.
That's exactly why I asked the question.
Done.
We needed those guys 2 weeks ago.
Should have done it weeks ago. Weeks ago.
It's not a winger, by the way. Sorry, I'd swap Lukman for, give me a proper midfielder. I don't know if the Olmo stuff is sorted. I don't know. Just give me another really inventive midfielder in there of some sort. Bring, let's say, okay, let me not start giving ideas and options, but that's my point. Midfielder, striker. If we came out with that, I'd be really, I'd be a lot more happy and feeling somewhat energized for the second half of the season, although we're into it already. But there we go.
Olmo got injured, I think, on the weekend, so I don't think.
So he must be playing.
He's been registered. What did he get injured? I think he got injured. I think he came off the pitch anyway. But yeah, the whole issue with him was registration. It wasn't a case of him being available.
No, of course, but is he? Let's see. Just trying to see if he's like in the squad. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, cool. I'll take your word for it.
I'm pretty sure he did. But yeah, Lee, you found one?
Oh, I did have it. Hold on.
Take your time.
Dani Olmo did come on against Real Madrid in the Super Cup. So is that because I take it he's registered for that? But is he registered for?
I'm sure he played on the weekend.
Yeah, he did. He came on in La Liga. So he's registered. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, it doesn't matter. And don't in the comments go, well, who do you want? You can't even say any names. I'm not a scout. They're probably like 15 of them at Arsenal. Find someone. Well, they apparently want this Sphere Nipan, if I'm pronouncing it right. The 18
Two names moved, yeah. 2 names moved that no one would have thought would be moving. Kvaratskhelia and Marmoush. Yeah. So I don't even give a shit about release clauses alone. Just go get fucking players. Like, stop making excuses for the bullshit. Like I said, just be quiet if you're just on this rainbow thing. Just be quiet.
Yeah.
But
get a striker, move Havertz into midfield, and then that's like a new signing.
Lee, do you want to double up on the next pod? Or
Yeah, I've lost it. It was from a fella from South Africa was saying that he didn't know, thanks to my knowledge, didn't know Miles Lewis-Skelly had not played left back before, only until he was in the first team, and he was bigging up the thing. I've lost it now.
comment section, just let me know what I do with this guy here. Just let me know. I respect my elders. I respect my elders, but just please, just let you decide. You lot decide what happens. The guy from South Africa said Lewis left back.
I'm happy to wait for him to find it, because that sounded like
no. It rings a bell. It does ring a bell. I think he's telling the truth.
Well, it can ring every bell in the world. That is a shit comment of the day.
No, it weren't. It was a really good one. And he said, "I hope it gets comment of the day," and he did. You know, it's just bloody messed it up.
I would happily let the podcast go on another half hour just to hear this comment of the day.
The other one I had was, I can't find one. I must have just deleted it accidentally. Was the one where it says, I said I'd dock Turkish, and then I'd clock Turkish. Right? You know what I mean? I don't know what I've done with them.
Hit the like button.
I cannot find them.
Make sure you're subscribed. Love
hit
for the love.
Hit the dislike button.
Yeah, you can do that. Engagement, whatever.
Sorry, boys. Do you know why? Because you just went on and on and on. I must have just deleted them, like, you know.
Because we're on a podcast.
No, bloody hell. I was doing the comments of the day, and then, like, you know,
talking, he decided to go through his phone and delete the comments of the day.
I'm not having this. Went comments of the day, and then the